I'm talking about blood, babe. It's in your veins. Your mommy and daddy, they've got the same. You're under the mirror day after day. You see a pretty face crumbling away as you become your mom and daddy. Scream once, scream twice, now scream again. Cover that face with your red right hand.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Alan's Horror World. My name is Alan. Of course, you guys already know that. So, if you read my community post on YouTube, you'll know that I have finally promised to finish all of my Scream reviews, starting with this one, and then I will actually move on to the Friday the 13th movies. For real. I'm actually promising this time. And when the time comes, I will eventually I will finish my audiobook for Halloween Kills. I actually promised this time, and I'm going to go through with that promise because school's almost over. I'm about to graduate. So, what better time to start doing this than now? And this month is Friday the 13th, so that's even more fitting. But today, we're going to get right into it. We're going to review Scream 3, the most controversial installment of the franchise, in ways you probably are not thinking of. I mean, like, in terms of, like, the tone of the movie and stuff. Yeah, I'm talking about that. So, Scream 3 stars Neve Campbell, Courteney Cox, David Arquette, Patrick Dempsey, Liev Schreiber, Lance Henriksen, Scott Foley, Jenny McCarthy, Emily Mortimer, and is directed by Wes Craven. Like Scream 2, this movie also had a trouble production in terms of reshoots and rewrites because they kept trying to keep the ending off the internet. But in terms of the Scream franchise, that never goes well. The last installment in the Scream trilogy is set in Hollywood, where Stab 3 is being shot, with Gale Weathers and Dewey Riley on set as advisors to Jennifer Jolie. Unfortunately, a killer decides to off the cast in the order of the screenplay, and only Sidney Prescott, now in hiding until the killer tracks her down, can solve the riddle. Two things. One, what riddle? This isn't a riddle. It's a murder mystery plot, like all the Scream movies are. And also, this plot synopsis is wrong in so many ways, like, Gale Weathers is not on set as an advisor. She's working with Detective Kincaid. Wikipedia, get your facts straight. So, if I remember correctly, my original review of this movie is still on YouTube. You might remember that I wasn't a big fan of this movie back in the day. 4 years ago. Jesus, absolutely insane how far we've come since those original reviews that are absolutely garbage and that I hate with every fiber of my being. I hate those movies. I hate those reviews so much. They are garbage. And I'm so glad to re-review this franchise to, one, have the quality be better, and two, to actually deliver a different opinion about Scream 3. 2 years ago, I was originally going to re-review this movie to begin with, but I never did. Now I'm doing it. I'm actually going to do it this time, and I'm going to give this movie justice. I'm doing it justice, and I'm actually going to put it to bed for good and just review this darn thing. So have my thoughts changed on Scream 3 since that original review? Quite a bit. Yeah, I no longer hate this one. This is actually in my top 3 of the franchise. It's one of my favorite ones. I actually love this movie, but it does have a few issues. But before that, we're going to go ahead and get into the positives of Scream 3. First off, the character development of the main 3 is stronger than ever here, at least until the newest one. Neve Campbell isn't in the movie very much because she had scheduling conflicts. She was doing other movies at the time, so she wasn't able to be in this movie as much as she probably wanted to. But the main 3 are stronger than ever here, again, until the 5th movie. I really like Dewey in this movie. He's basically Dewey in Scream 2, but a little more self-aware of what's going on and not as delirious or as much of a bumbling idiot as he is. Well, at least until some parts of the 3rd act. Okay, maybe he is a bumbling idiot in this movie. I don't care. Gale Weathers, we'll get to her later. She has great character development. And Sidney is a woman who is now in hiding after the events of the second movie. But she has to learn that being in hiding ain't gonna help. And that Ghostface will find her eventually. And she does realize that in the second act of this movie. So, yeah, then she just gets herself out of hiding and has to go straight to Hollywood, which... Of course, you're going to go right to where the murders are happening. Like, why would you do that? But still, I love the character development of the main three. It is stronger than ever here, yet again, until the newest one we just got. So, I really like the movie for that.
Hey, Past Adeline, this is editing Adeline talking to you. Quit repeating yourself. You literally remind me of this moment from Avengers Endgame.
It was 6 stones.
You're repeating yourself, you know that? You're repeating yourself.
You're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself.
Dude.
You know, no.
Second, the premise of this movie is actually interesting, and although the deliverance of this premise is not great, it's not fantastic the way it's delivered, it still makes the movie much more fun to watch than it used to be, and I actually like that Sidney's mother is connected to these murders, is connected to the story, and overall, I actually think it's just a great premise. Maureen being connected adds a little twist to it, because we all know that before the events of the first movie, Billy Loomis and Stu Macher killed Maureen Prescott. And for the first two movies, that's really all they lingered on about Maureen, was that, oh, Billy and Stu killed her, and she was Sidney's mother. Okay, but this one, it's revealed that she was an actress before Woodsboro, that for 2 years she disappeared off the face of the earth. She changed her name, well, not really changed her name. She made a stage name called Rena Reynolds, and she was in some of Sunrise Studios movies. And something happened to her because of Lance Henriksen's character that's pretty disgusting, and I don't want to talk about it, but it resulted in this movie happening, and the entire franchise happening, to be exact. So, yeah, that happened. Next, this movie is campy as heck. And to be honest, I'm actually kind of living for it. Like, this movie is cheesy and campy, just like some of the Friday the 13th sequels. From the over-the-top performance by Parker Posey as Jennifer, who's my favorite character in the movie, by the way, and I think she's become a popular pick for best character in this movie, to some scenes that are straight out of the Looney Tunes cartoon. This is definitely the most fun of the franchise. This movie is the most fun installment. And I actually like that they went in that direction, even if it was for one installment, because all the other four movies, while despite having comedic moments of, like, meta and self-awareness, they're mostly serious. They're mostly serious, and they still take themselves seriously. This movie does not. Like, I've heard people wrongly claim that this movie got too serious. No, this movie got too hilarious. And I actually love it for that. I'm actually a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of Scream becoming a comedy. Take a look at Scary Movie, for example. But I'm kind of glad they only did it for this one movie. It makes it a unique installment of the franchise. Next up, speaking of the main three that I talked about earlier, I kind of want to focus specifically on Gale in this movie. Her character development is practically flawless here. It's not until the newest movie where she got more character development, because in Scream 4, they relegated her back to Scream 1 Gale Weathers, which I'll get to that in my review of the next movie. But I love Gale in this movie. She's still a bit cruel, like Gale Weathers is, but she's no longer interested in slandering the lives of so many people and causing them more pain. She genuinely cares about stopping the murders that Ghostface is doing, and is genuinely curious as to why Maureen Prescott is connected to the murders. I love her character development in this one. She genuinely cares, even though she does have that snobby and snarky attitude about her, like classic Gale Weathers would. But I like that she's a better person here, even though in the first act, she's basically Gale again. But over the course of the movie, she grows as a character. She's actually really, really good in this movie. And in my honest opinion, she's the best of the main three in this movie, to be completely honest. Why isn't Sidney my favorite, you may ask? Well, she's not in the movie as much as Gale and Dewey. And, like, Gale and Dewey are basically the heart of this franchise besides Sidney, but just Sidney isn't in it as much as Gale and Dewey. So Gale is going to be more interesting to me. And I actually like Gale's story. Like, she's a complex character, and I live and love complex characters. I live for complex characters, okay? That's how I roll. Fifth, while I think the reveal of Ghostface is not great in this movie, Roman's motivation makes sense. Yes, spoiler alert, even though this movie is 22 years old, Roman's the killer. And he's the only killer in the movie, despite the fact that Emily Mortimer's character was supposed to be the second killer. And there are literally still parts of the movie where you can literally be like, yeah, that's Angelina. That is not Roman, that's Angelina. But whatever. Besides that, his motivation makes sense. He's Sidney's half-brother, which I still think is the most ridiculous aspect of this franchise. But the fact that he has been abandoned, he has been turned against by Maureen, it kind of makes you feel sympathy for the guy, despite him being a murdering psychopath. So I actually like Roman's motivation. And he's a pretty underrated Ghostface. His reveal isn't great, it's really freaking obvious, but he's a really good Ghostface. He's not my favorite, though. Next, the third act is my favorite third act of the franchise. I love the fight between Sidney and Roman. They literally beat the crap out of each other in this third act, and I'm here for it. And like they're pretty much even between each other, and the fact that they're siblings makes it a little bit more meaningful that they're doing this. Well, I don't know why I would say more meaningful. That's really sadistic of me, but I like the fact that they're siblings who are also enemies. They don't love one another, they hate each other. And they're literally killing each other, to be completely honest. And although Sidney walks away the winner, I do believe that any of you who watched this movie for the first time and did not read the plot on Wikipedia like I did before watching it for the first time, believe that Sidney was actually going to die in this movie. I mean, I knew she wasn't going to because I read the plot of the movie, but still. And finally, I believe that this would have been a really good finale for the franchise. This was supposed to be the last movie in the trilogy. It was supposed to be the final Scream movie, and I think it would have been a pretty good finale. The movie ends in a way to where it's more of a happy ending. Everyone has closure. Gale and Dewey are engaged. Sidney is basically free and no longer has to live in fear, and there's a little bit of a hint that she and Kincaid are a thing now, and it's definitely confirmed in the new movie, which I'm living for it. But it ends in a way to where this happens, and you could basically say this would have been a really fitting finale of the series, and we wouldn't have gotten the fourth and fifth movie, but alas, that didn't happen. We still got the fourth and fifth movie, which, hey, I don't mind. I'm up for new Scream movies. I'm all for it. Give me 50 Scream movies and I will still be there opening night, okay? To be honest, I can't even think of mixed aspects of this movie, so we're just gonna go straight to the negatives for this one. And I don't have that many, but some of them are pretty major. My first negative, some of the campiness can go a bit too far, to be completely honest. The biggest moment that I can think of is when Gale is in the basement with Ghostface and Dewey comes to save her. Good on him for actually being suspicious of it actually being Gale over the phone. He's certain it's the killer at first, but no, it is actually Gale. It really is. So, but when he opens the door and starts shooting, no bullets come out. And when Ghostface flings the knife at Dewey, you think it's gonna stab him in the head. No, the freaking handle just hits him. It hits his forehead and he just tumbles down the stairs like it's a cartoon. And the score by Marco Beltrami in this scene kind of sells it like it's an actual Looney Tunes cartoon. It's absolutely ridiculous. Some of the campiness and some of the cartoonish aspects go a little far, in my honest opinion. Next, most of the characters are nothing to write home about. Most of the new ones are really bland. I think most of the new characters in this movie are by far the most boring and bland of the entire franchise. Until we get to Scream 4 with Trevor. Freaking Trevor. I don't know. The characters in this movie are not interesting at all. Jenny McCarthy, what was her name again? Sarah Darling? sadly, I still remember their names. I mean, Tyson's cool. I mean, like, I like him a little bit, but, like, Angelina, Tom Prince, and Sarah Darling, they are entirely forgettable. They're stereotypical characters that I just can't wait to see die. Parker Posey is literally the only exception to this. I love her in this movie, but every one of the others just, bleh, no thanks, I'm good. And finally, the kills in this movie are horrible. I hate the kills in this movie. Literally, like, I don't necessarily critique the kills in this franchise because, like, I get it. Ghostface's signature move is stabbing people. I get it. But there's barely any gore in this movie. Where is my gore? Where's the blood? There's barely any. I get it. I understand that the whole Columbine shooting happened before production of this movie began, so they weren't going to allow as much blood in this movie as they could have, but, like, release the Craven cut that has more gore. Release that version. I want to see that version. Like, the kills in this movie are horrible. It's either stabbed in the stomach, stabbed in the back, stabbed in the neck, gunshot, or a freaking explosion. That is literally the most ridiculous kill of the entire franchise. I'm serious. Overall, guys, Scream 3 is a really good movie. I really like this movie. I like it far more than I used to. It's one of my favorites of the franchise now. Top 3, as a matter of fact. And it's so fun, despite some of the campy aspects being a little too silly and some of the characters not being memorable and the kills absolutely sucking. Other than that, I think this is a really good movie. This is a great Scream movie. It's so over the top. It's really campy, but I actually highly recommend this movie because, well, actually, I recommend all of these movies, but if you're looking for a slasher sequel that doesn't take itself too seriously like the other ones do, this one is definitely worth a watch. I'm going to give Scream 3 an A-. So what do y'all think of Scream 3? Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this movie? Do you hate this movie? Do you love this movie? Or are you just in the middle on this one? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, maybe even tell me why you love this movie or why you hate it. Go ahead. It doesn't matter. Just tell me. We can debate about it in the comments below. So be looking forward to my review of Scream 4 in the next few days, as well as my review of Scream 5. I'm calling it Scream 5 now. And then be looking forward to my reviews of all the Friday the 13th movies besides the original, because I've already reviewed it and my thoughts are pretty much the same. So be looking forward to all those. Yeah, just be looking forward to those. And hopefully when I get to it sometime, be looking forward to my audiobook for Halloween Kills that I will hopefully finish someday. So yeah, be looking forward to those stuff. And also, why don't you just leave a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Just like and subscribe and hit that bell to get all notifications for every single one of my videos, because YouTube doesn't always recommend. By the way, guys, thank you so much for 850 subscribers. It really means a lot to me. Here's to 900 and hopefully 1K by the end of the year. So thank you so much for that. It really means a lot to me. So anyways, guys, I guess that's pretty much it. So anyways, I'm Madeline. This is Adeline's Horror World. Of course, you guys already know that. I love all you guys to death. And until next time,